Hey, everybody. We're doing another show. Look at us. It's Golf Spiritual Leader, along with my dear, dear friend, Coach Tim O'Connor. And this is another episode of Swing Thoughts.
I want to be a drummer.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I'm in the presence of a rock and roll, rock and ska, 70s punk bass player. It's pretty cool. You were up late last night bass playing.
I was, yes. Our band has a show this Saturday at the Block in Burlington.
Wow.
We're playing with the Scatherins. They're a ska band from St. Catharines. And it's our first show in a while. We've had some health stuff in our band, some different things go on. And so we're really excited. So we practiced long and hard into the night.
Can you remind everyone the name of Coach Tim's punk band?
It's called CID, which CID. So we got two Brit expats in our band, and CID on that side of the pond stands for Criminal Investigation Department.
Oh,
and so
right. I like it.
CID is as ubiquitous, if you will, as IRS or FBI. So that's the name of the band.
It's pretty. I've always thought it was pretty cool that you do it, because whenever I think about you, not the first thing that comes to mind isn't bass player in a punk band. But there you are. Ladies and gentlemen, this program is brought to you by TaylorMade QI40 drivers. They're fastest, most fittable drivers yet. It is time. It is time now to find your new fast. And we're recording this on Canada Day, so even though you will hear it a couple days later, on Friday, July 3rd, we'll release this show. It is Canada Day when we're recording. And Tim and I, we go back and forth as to when can we record, when can you record? And he said to me, Tim, that's you, by the way. Tim texted me, want to record early Canada Day? I have morning stuff the rest of the week, including something. And I said, yeah, I could do it Wednesday at 7:30. He goes, and then Tim your response was great. I thought, that's early for a holiday. But then I remember that I'll be awake for at least 2 hours prior to that. Anyway, I'm such an old guy. And then I laughed. And you were out late last night, and you were up at 5:30 this morning.
Yeah, it just happens. It's just the way the clock is set, in the internal clock.
Yeah. I spent most of my semi-adult life, or adult adjacent life, getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work. And so I've always been a morning person. And here's where I was going to relate to golf. In a recent tournament, which I'm sure we will talk about, the draw was early the first day. And then because of my performance on the first day, I was in the last group on the second day, just a few days ago. And when everyone found out their tee times, like, oh, this is great, we're not teeing up till 2 in the afternoon or whatever it was. And for me, that's like my day is done at 2.
Yeah, you're ready for bed.
I'm ready for bed because I said to my girlfriend Shona, I said, I don't know, what are we going to do between 6:30 and 2 o'clock? I went for bike rides. I went for breakfast. Like I had a whole day.
Anything you want to watch on TV?
Oh, we watched movies. Anyways, welcome everyone. I hope you're. There's somebody we've had on our show a few years ago, Kathy Hartwood, who always begins her. Actually, my buddy Grant refers to her as my other girlfriend, but because I really like her, she's not that way. But
Yes.
Anyway, but she always begins her podcast by saying, "Hello, my golf friends." Kind of Jim Nantz.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
So hello, golf friends, and welcome. This is the steamy July 1st edition. It has been, there's some kind of heat dome over southern Ontario where we live, and the last few days have just been spectacular. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I'm going to be on the punishing side. Feels like 40 degrees Celsius around here.
Yeah. Playing golf tomorrow with my son Sean at Deer Ridge. So he sent me a text. So Sean's like a very, robust 30-year-old young person. He sends me a text. Supposed to be feels like 40, taking a cart.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was lucky enough yesterday to play a very, very fancy pants golf course.
Well, which one? Which one?
Well, I'll tell you, let me give you a little clue. The last time I played this golf course was with you in a charity event for, I think it was
Oh,
your cousin?
it was for Wounded Warriors.
Wounded Warriors. But didn't
Yeah,
your
the
cousin, somebody in your family was organizing it or was part of the
involved
organizing?
in it. Yeah, my
Okay.
cousin Ken is a member at Beacon Hall.
Yeah.
And we actually, you and I, the first or second, we won the darn thing.
Yeah, we did.
And won
Among our,
a driver that is a competitor to our sponsor. So I gave that driver away.
so
I
that was
found
the
a
last
nice
time.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beacon Hall is where I was yesterday. And prior to you and I playing it in that charity event, did we play it a couple times?
Twice. Yep.
Prior to that, I had played the 1998 Ontario Amateur there.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
yesterday, I played it with our friend, my very good friend, Charles Fitzsimmons. I always call him Charles Aloysius Fitzsimmons. Who, it was a great day. I'll tell you about it some other time. But then after, he lives about 10 minutes from the golf course. And I'd never been to Charlie's house. He'd been living there for a couple of years. And because it's about 50 minutes from where I live. So we're in the neighborhood. And he said, hey, you want to see where I live? I said, yeah, let's go look at it. So it was pretty funny. He took me for a tour of his home. And, you know, he's won so many golf tournaments. It's insane. He has a place in his house where all his trophies are. Well, the first thing you do when you walk into Charles's home, there's this giant ornate cup sitting on the coffee table there. I go, what's that? He goes, oh yeah, that's the Canadian Mid-Am. Was it the Canadians? No, the Ontario. Oh, that's the Ontario Mid-Am Cup I won a couple weeks ago. It's just giant sitting there. And then he took me into sort of his office where all the trophies are. It's insane, Tim. Like, you know, I've been lucky to win a couple of things, but it's just everywhere you look. There's what do they like a medal,
A lanyard.
No, medals. Like they give.
Oh
out these,
yeah, medals. Yes,
you know,
yes.
And it's funny. Like I thought to myself, of course I wouldn't know what these are. I've never seen one up close. I've never been around anybody that's won like 3 Canadian amateurs, mid-ams, 2 Ontario mid-ams. He won something at St. Andrews. This prestigious thing. Like it's insane how much winning this kid has done. Anyway, it was fantastic.
My few trophies fit on my windowsill. You know, the only comparison I could make is in 1995, I went on a golf trip to South Africa. We got invited there. A bunch of golf writers, one Canadian with a bunch of Americans, because South Africa was trying to open up after Mandela was out, everything. So we got invited to Gary Player's house.
What?
We had a braai, aka a barbecue, at Gary Player's house. He's an amazing guy. It was really so fun. We're hanging out in Gary's backyard, you know, and we're having a barbecue. And so he also said, "Oh, if you feel like wandering around the house, go for it." And then there's the crystal he won, you know, at the Masters. There's replicas of various trophies. You know, the guy's a career Grand Slam winner.
Yeah.
And like the house is just festooned with trophies.
Well, very impressive stuff, and he seems like, you know, he seems a bit crazy at times now, but you know.
Oh, he does. Yeah. Did
he get down and do a bunch of push-ups and?
No, but I'm not sure if he said that. Oh yes, Beacon Hall, my favorite course of its kind.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, it's very impressive. Again, I've been lucky enough to play a lot of fancy pants golf courses. I was a member of one for a long time, but it's been a couple of weeks since I played. This year already, I've played Essex in Windsor, Point West in Windsor, Cherry Hill in Fort Erie. Like those are fantastic golf courses, and
absolutely
playing Beacon Hall yesterday, and also playing golf with Charles is always fun for me. He's pretty good at golf, and you know, And he and I had a good, and it's just the two of us too. And and we're playing golf, like we're putting out, we're just going along. But it's such a great, would be like you and I playing for 4 hours, just talking about the game. And I would, and also usually I generally just play with Charles in tournament play. We don't get a lot of time to play just casual golf. And it was also the first round for me in about 3 weeks that I didn't have to hand a card in.
Yeah.
And so I got to ask him a lot of questions about his process. And as most people know, Charles is a doctor of psychology and he's got a PhD, but he works with golfers and players of all different levels, but mostly high level, a couple DP World Tour type guys. And so just picking his brain about, shot selection and what do you think of this? And, and what I wanted to talk about today, my little contribution in terms of theme is something that he and I had talked a lot about prior to some tournament play for me, and also, I think it will be instructive for our STDs in terms of what you do to avoid blow up holes and what you do after you've had a blow up hole. So that's something that is coming up for me as well. You said to me just before we hit record, you said, "Oh, you wanted to tell me a story. You were about to tell me a story." And then you said, "Oh, should I save this for the podcast?"
Oh, no, you just asked me.
But that was 11 minutes ago, and I've already forgotten.
Yeah, well, there we are, old guys again. No, you asked me how my day went yesterday, and I said, well, it was interesting. But so I'm going to start with, I went to a cancer screening clinic. Because anyone who's looking on YouTube knows I got a little thingy in the forehead. I got another thingy over here. So I was just curious whether there might be something up there. So I went, and so this is in Cambridge. The amazing nurse there, Sarah, she said, well, yeah, as a golfer, you spend so much time outside and it's going to have ramifications. So I thought it would be something just good to chat about on a podcast about golf. Because of the importance of
absolutely
really taking care of yourself. And
were your results okay?
They just did this screening, these photos and all this like stuff, analysts. So I will go back in about a week and I'll get the results of what these little things are. And then they'll probably just deal with them. They have a plan, but I'll probably get that. There's a
cold thing. They laser it off. Or something. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll probably happen with these couple of things.
Did you have a doctor refer, or can you just call them up and say, I want to have a screening?
You can just call them up. It was actually.
I want to get that from you because I'm here in Toronto. It's really hard to get in to see a dermatologist, a specialist, but I go to Cambridge for a screening. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just got Sandy got an email from her doctor, and Sandy's been concerned about some of these things on my noggin for a while. So she sent that, and I just made the appointment, and a couple of weeks later, and I went. So it's just really, really important for people to take care, And so here's the thing that often I fell into this is that sunscreen is kind of a pain in the arse for a golfer because you don't like getting your hands all slippy and whatnot. So I was using the spray-on stuff.
That's what I use.
It's better than nothing, if you will. You're better to use. What I'm told is you're just way better to use the 50, whatever that stands for, stuff, or 60.
SPF, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And you use the lotion and you put it on, and then she said at the turn, go to the 10th tee, then you could use the spray stuff. But really just
she's saying put the lotion on first and then spray it later.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do that at home or wherever, and then you're able to wash your hands. That
right.
I don't know. Do you find the same thing? I always found sunscreen was like, oh, I'm going to get my hands all
well. I use the spray. It's funny you bring it up because Charles was using the lotion yesterday before he teed off, and I was spraying it. And he said, "Hey, you don't wear your sleeves anymore." I said, because for a couple of summers, I had those sleeves.
I remember. Yeah,
and wore them all the time. And I said, it's funny, because they get eventually they get dirty and they get ratty from being in the wash, and I never replaced them. But it
Hmm.
reminded me that that's for a few years, I basically didn't have my arms exposed because of all those years of being out there. But I think a lot of golfers, it's just a good conversation because a lot of us feel protected because I'm putting spray on. But I listen, I was out on a tournament on Monday for 27 holes and didn't reapply it. So at some point, yeah, it's good to know. That's why I'm gonna after the show I'll get that information from you.
Okay, great. Yeah. So that was interesting. And then um, I had an amazing afternoon with a guy named Bill Webster. And Bill has been, we'll say, a grief counselor for, gosh, 40 years or so. He lost his wife back in, I think it was in the 80s. And he just realized that he was a master's, he had his master's in psychology, and he just realized that no one really was doing anything for the average person to understand the grief process. And so, as people who've listened to the show know, I lost my son Corey in February, and so through a number of different circumstances, and I've become familiar with Bill Webster's work, his books, and we did a program at a church in Waterloo, a 6 week kind of support group thing. And so I reached out to him because, again, STDs will know I've got a history working with a group called the Mankind Project. And so what has sort of come together for me as I keep going on about this is men don't do well with much that has to do with their feelings and especially with grief. So, um, so I reached out to Bill Webster. It turns out, so I knew he was a Scot because I heard his accent, but of course, a Scot who loves golf.
Of course.
He says, well, let's hang out. So I came out to Blue Springs and helped him, with his golf game for a while. He's actually going to go play the old course at St. Andrews later this summer. And then we just sat and chatted for 2+ hours.
Wow.
So it was really amazing to talk to somebody like that personally about the what's going on for Sandy and I and dealing with Corey being gone and trying to discern how I can be of service to particularly to men, but also women struggle too, is like because men just do so terribly with just paying attention, if you will, to their emotions. We just like, it's like Bill Burr. Let's just put that stuff away.
That's right.
It's like, wiping on flaming wood. Get it away from me.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was a
Well,
bit there.
I'm very happy for you. And, I'm just trying to make a light segue. I think most golfers that listen to this show think of us as grief counselors for their game.
Totally, man. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of what we talk about on this show and have for a decade now is, and the people we attract, the vibration we give out is that of, sharing the soul crushing, and I'm not
Yes.
being the soul crushing nature of this game at times. People like you and our friend Carl and my buddy Charles, and people that deal and me to a smaller degree, obviously, but a lot of things guys talk to me about is how they feel about their game. I had a little health incident last week. Doing fine, by the way. I've got some tests this weekend, but so my heart's seemingly okay. It got broke a couple times on the weekend. On the weekend in this tournament I was in, but a few guys came up to me in the range and said, "Hey, how you doing? How you feeling?" And then invariably, I should say, it turns to how's their game? How are you feeling about it? Because again, if you're the few people that listen to this show, we're all in the same kind of space of not being afraid to talk about how we feel about what this game does to us, but also what, and by virtue of the metaphor for golf as life, how it comes up in our daily lives about, feeling bad about stuff.
Yeah, and dealing with disappointment. And it's interesting that we went this route because my current post on Substack is about one of the things we have explored on this podcast, this beginning of this golf season, is purpose. We talked
Yeah.
about that with Fred Shoemaker. And so one of the things that Fred noted is that the majority of golfers come off the golf course disappointed.
Yeah.
That, oh, I didn't play well today, went in the dumper, whatever, I choked, whatever. And and he also adds that on the rare occasions that they play well, they wish they shot 5 shots slower.
Absolutely.
So it's the dealing with the disappointment and basically loss. And so,
Well,
just
if I may just interject,
go for it.
think about all the words we use about golf: loss aversion, disappointment, devastation, soul crushing. Think about it. Like, speaking of Fred, this conversation, one of the guys that came up to me on the range about my heart and had listened to the show and had actually referenced Fred Shoemaker because they had never heard him before. And I said, yeah, Fred's the real deal. And I said, one of my favorite things he said on that appearance was, the goal of golf is to shoot the lowest score you can. But that's not the purpose of it. That's not your purpose of it. So, well, let's get to some golf stuff. I'll tell you what. When last we spoke, I had finally qualified after a 3-year absence.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Finally qualified for the Senior Am. I'm back, and I'm very excited about it. So, and it definitely lightened me up. Obviously I was happy, weirdly more relieved than anything else.
Yeah.
And on that day that I qualified, you want to talk, speaking of disappointment, I said to because I'd been, listen, more than most people. I was just, I read some of the texts I sent you, Charles, Kent, and I basically looked back on that 3 days before I qualified. I wrote to Charles. I said, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Riders on the storm.
Right. So I said 3 days, and we were laughing. He and I were laughing about it yesterday because he deals with this all the time, including, by the way, including in himself. This guy has honestly, I can't. It would sound insane if I told you all the things this guy has won, and yet he has the same, as he said to me yesterday. So I'm a human being. My
totally, man.
He said my brain works the same way yours does. The way you put it is, it's like it's evidence of everyone's humanity. So, 3 days before I qualified, I was going to, as my buddy Paul says, Yoda Paul always says to me, are you quitting golf again today? So obviously I felt much relief after I finally qualified. But then I still had more golf to play. I still had tournaments. So I played the qualifier Wednesday, the Glencairn Club Championship Saturday, Sunday, the Glencairn Invitational for 27 holes Monday. So it was a really intense stretch of golf. Mm-hmm. And so we had our club championship. And I know was it the club championship at Deer Ridge?
Yeah, it was the senior club championship. Super senior. So I think that's 65 and up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So it was our, as I call it, the Geezer Invitational. So it was our senior invitation, our senior club championship. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put mine aside for a few minutes now because I will tell everyone how I did, and it was great. But I thought it was more interesting, to me at least, to hear about, because you and I corresponded about your adventure back into playing. As our friend Dr. Raymond Pryor says, when score matters, golf is a very different game. Everybody listening, and in last week's show, we were talking about, hey, if you're going to play your club championship or maybe play for the first time, and we had some discussions around that. So I'm curious to hear. I think the STDs would benefit from hearing your experience of having to play when you have to hand a scorecard in.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and it's pretty cool that you reference Charles being a human and suffering the same things that every other player does, because that certainly was Coach Tim's experience. So it was my first tournament round in 3 years, where you like hole everything and hand that card in and up it goes on a board and everything. And so Sunday, I'll just focus on Sunday. But I felt my game has been like moving along pretty nicely this year. I'm playing more golf than I have in a couple of years. And I was feeling really, actually really good, good warm up session, everything. And then, so I end up three putting the first green. Oh, double. Okay, got the double out of the way, and that's fine. So still feeling a bit of
Great.
jittery, you know?
Yeah, that's that sort of nervy feeling, and
Yeah, just that, and then I three putt the second green, and so three over after two.
and now you're thinking, okay, is this a trend? Am I going to three putt? Can I just
Oh,
quickly?
totally.
Can I just quickly come in for a little joke? I
Oh,
did.
absolutely. Oh, you froze. Hmm. Hey, folks, we froze. Let's see if I can get Howard back on the line. I'm gonna send Howard a text. See, let's see. You froze. Let's see if he responds. Because I just see a nice picture of him smiling there. As you may see. So I guess we'll probably have to edit this, but we'll see. Let's see. I can't hear you. Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, that was interesting.
All right, everybody, we're back. Stand by for a second. There we go. We had a little in the house. It just went on and off, and so my network is resetting. STDs, we had that issue, and this is funny because on my screen it says your internet, as are you.
Yeah. Well, you keep freezing there. Just let you know. You just keep freezing.
Okay, well let me do this. Let me see if I can get back to the regular network.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. We're back. We're back on the main network now. Can you see me okay?
Yeah, yeah, you froze there a second, but let's just keep chatting for a
Well,
bit
no,
and
no, it's
see
fine.
if
I'll just edit all this part out. Don't worry about it.
Okay, all right. So you were about to
Um,
launch into a
let
story.
me, no, you were actually. So, okay.
Well, I
So
was
you,
telling it, but and you said it reminded you of
oh,
something, and you,
because
yeah,
you were
yeah,
talking, no, you, because, okay. When
the two three
when
putts.
yeah, you said you three putted both of the holes. Well, I did this recently in a tournament. I three putted the first couple holes. And as we're going to the third tee, I said to the guys, well, you know what the old saying is, you can't three putt them all if you don't three putt the first two. Just because, you know that,
That is a
because
great line. Love that.
because people often say, well, you can't birdie them all if you don't birdie the first or second. But anyway, that
That's
was
a
about
good line.
so you three putted the first two holes in the second
Yeah,
round of your senior club championship.
yeah, and then I proceeded to make nothing but pars until the ninth. But I just settled down. I wasn't hitting it even on those first two holes. I was hitting it okay. Um, but it was just a matter of just sort of getting settled and just letting the nerves settle a bit. And that's the hardest part
Yes.
is just because there's stuff going on. I mean, like everyone else, I try and think the right thoughts and, have a good intention that today's going to be about, exploring my creativity and how free can I be and, all these lovely things. But when you hold your putter like it was a snake, or it's just like an animal in your hand. It's hard to make a good putting stroke, no matter what you're trying to feel or think.
But if I can just jump back in, intentions are great. I mean, you can say I'm all
Yes.
about yeah. It's great to say, oh, I'm all about gratitude today, and it's going to be a great day, and I'm going to enjoy the blah 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 blah. But you still have to hit a shot. You still have to
Yep.
make a putt. The game isn't going to go away just because you feel, you know, uh, you've got some intentions. And as we that woman said on one of the 10 times I played her clip, feelings don't feelings don't hit golf shots.
No, they
And
don't.
it's if I can also say, funny. I
Yeah.
sat around with Charles after the round at his house, and I asked him about this. Funny, it's strange how this conversation's gone because I asked him about that. I was talking about how I felt playing these tournaments lately, and he said I feel that way too, but you can play, you can still play when you're feeling nervous.
That's right. Absolutely.
The analogy is the storm, as we talked a couple weeks ago. When you're in the storm only goes up to 10 or 12,000 feet in the atmosphere, but above it it's always blue sky. He said you're always the blue sky, and the storm is happening. It's just how you react to it is the important thing. So how did you react?
Well, as I went along and I went, oh, okay, you just haven't done this for a while. And so it's
Yeah.
just like settle in. And so one of the things that I just realized is that experience is what makes the difference. And when I
Yeah.
coach the kids I coach, like very high level high school and college players, they go like, how come I blow up? And this, and I says, well, you know what? You're just learning this tournament thing. And it's a different skill, and mainly it's a different experience. So you have different things going on in your body that you're just not even aware of. And so what happens there is that it usually comes through intention. That's the key thing, how it shows up. And then you also default to old behaviors.
Yeah.
So when I putt, I'm like everybody else. I want to stay present to feeling the club. That's one of Coach Tim's things. But, that putter's going to the ball and he's like, okay, how'd this turn out? It's just like this. It's just this reaction thing that happens to me. And so I just don't stay present to the stroke and I'm all concerned about the outcome. And, I miss like a couple of like, 2.5 foot putts that I'm
Yep.
normally good at. That I've been making all season, but come the tournament, it's a different thing going on. So it's having the experience, but also then bringing awareness to what is happening, and so so you kind of have a higher level of sensation in the body. The thinking is quicker. Just everything is just a bit more acute, and so unless you're in a competitive environment, playing in tournaments, my awareness just wasn't there of the things I sort of have to watch for and keep an eye on. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, and not that I say I have an advantage. I play. Charles and I were talking about it yesterday. Yesterday is the first time. I mean, I handed a card in because I put my score in on Golf Canada, but I didn't have to hand a card in a tournament.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
I play basically almost exclusively tournaments or tournament adjacent golf. And when I say adjacent, our men's night and our Saturday morning game is no gimmies, full on card. Your score gets posted. And anytime your score gets posted, whether it's a Golf Canada event or your club's men's night or because like again, as I said at the beginning of this, when score matters, your body feels different. There's just no getting around it. And even though for me score matters almost all the time I'm playing, I still have those feelings as I did this weekend because I was in an uncomfortable territory on the weekend. I'd not been in that situation that I'm about to describe for a few years. And it was very interesting. By the way, when you said you're supposed to be this guy, Coach Tim, and people know you. Well, I get the same thing. I call myself golf spiritual leader because I think it's funny, but it also comes back to bite me in the ass.
Totally.
Because guys who know me is like, I throw a club the odd time. I smash my putter down. On Monday, just to skip forward, on Monday I was in a 27-hole invitational, and this is at the end of Tournament Tuesday, Qualifier Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday Club Championship, Monday 27-hole tournament. Like I am fried at this point. And on the carts they have those. Club Lake has those plastic, and a lot of courses do, plastic bottles of divot mix.
Yep.
So if you had been at Glencairn on Monday. And you saw me play this hole where I three-putted from about 10 feet as the other two guys drove away in their carts. I took my fist and I smashed it into this divot mix. All I could think of is if somebody was on a hole, they go, is that golf spiritual leader beating up the divot mix bottle? Yes, indeed it was.
That's
I was great. So pissed off at this thing. I was just tired, man.
Oh, I totally get it.
My circuits, and when we get tired, and this is where we'll get to the blow up holes in a second. When we're tired, when we're mentally fatigued, physically as well, but when the mental fatigue sets in, to quote you, your awareness becomes suspect.
Right.
You don't have and of course the physical energy, but you don't have the mental energy to be paying attention the way you might like to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why I got mad Monday and didn't get mad Saturdays. I don't know. I was tired. On Saturday, Sunday, I played in the club championship and I had a chance to win it, and I didn't. But there was many moments on Sunday when I was in the final group, in the final round, and I said to Shona, who was caddying for me, I said, I'm learning so much here today. I really am.
Absolutely, man. That's the beauty of it.
And I was, it's not anything new. I was just relearning what this feels like. So I'll how I did. So we played the first round. And again, this is the Tuesday. When I played a tournament Tuesday, qualifier Wednesday, and now it's Saturday. I'm playing in the first round of the club championship, and I'm playing great. And your body knows that. I was nervous. Yeah. I was nervous, and but I settled in very quickly. That feeling, it's a great phrase you use. Sometimes it takes you a while. And I got, I'm nervous on the first couple of holes, just like you are. Maybe a little more used to it because it's been more, recent for me. Mm-hmm. But, and I said to Charles, are you nervous? He says, absolutely. He says, I just, I recognize him. And, we all have a choice of how we're going to react. So the first round I played, and I was playing well. Made some birdies, even par for most of the day. Get to the last hole and just chose the wrong club. I had about 90 yards to the green, got a little bit of a gust, and it came up short. And I sort of had about a 50-foot putt for birdie, and I three-putted it to shoot 73. So I was even par. I was playing good golf. So now I'm in the final group. So I haven't been there in a few years. I've won this tournament before. Yeah, I have, but I haven't been in contention for a while. And it feels different. You're the last group out. I mean, it's a cool feeling. And I'll just tell you quickly. Started off great. Sank about an 8-footer. That tough putt. Sank it on the first hole to save par. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Well,
this is on.
I'm here, and I didn't think like, oh, I'm gonna. I just thought, oh, I said to Shona, I said that was a good putt to sink, man. That could have gone off the green. It was downhill, all that shit.
Oh yeah.
So a few holes later, and this is when I want to talk about how blow up holes happen. The anatomy of a triple, and we've talked about this for a long time. Blow up holes in golf are a choice. They're a choice that we need to stop making. And I'll tell you, and I'm going to play a clip in a bit. So I'm standing there on the 4th hole of the day. My 2 playing partners are, one of them is one of the best senior golfers in the country. He's a guy named Doug Brophy, and he is long. 6'2" guy, hits it 300 yards. I'm not exaggerating that he hits it. He just does. He's much longer than me. So we're on a par 5 that he hits driver 5-iron, and his second shot is 10 feet from the cup. I hit driver, then I lay up, because I can't cover the distance from where I was. There's it's the 4th hole on Speyside, if you know. It's got a huge hazard just in front of the green.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm 105 yards from the hole on the 4th hole of the tournament that I'm leading. Or he and I were tied. So I'm basically leading or tied with him. And that for me, it was 98 yards to carry the bunker, like the front of the green, and then a few more yards to the hole. For me, that's a gap wedge. It's about a 110-yard club for me. I can easily hit it 105 yards. So I make the decision. I have a clear intention. I have a target. I commit to the shot, and now all I'm thinking is tempo. That's all I think over the golf ball, just tempo. And just as I'm standing there, I get a bit of a gust of wind. You know where this is headed. I get I feel some wind on my face that wasn't there as I settled in over the shot, and I hit the fucking thing anyway. And the swing I made was just the kind of swing you make where subconsciously you think you need to give it something extra.
Yeah.
And the something extra I gave it was hitting it fat into the hazard.
Ouch.
And as we've talked often, things at that point started to happen very quickly.
Yes, they do.
So I put another ball down as a provisional in case we can't find the one that's I'm 10 yards short of where I needed to carry it. And the guys are already over there. They've already hit their second shots, and they're waiting to putt for eagle. So things are starting to spiral very quickly. And of course, I put a ball down. I hit it left of the green, pin high. So now that would be my 5th shot.
That's right.
If I was to play that ball. So we get up there, and one of the other guys in the group, lovely guy named Bill Swan, he's our Ryder Cup captain, and he says, I found it, which was in retrospect the worst thing that could have happened, because he found it, and it was in the hazard. I could see the ball, but I should never, ever have played it.
Oh.
But at this point, I'm thinking, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, well, Doug's putting for eagle. I got to get on the. I don't know what I was thinking. It was quite a soup of nonsense going on in my head. So I try and hit it out of the hazard, and of course it stays in the hazard. That's 4. Then I hit my 5th shot into the bunker that I was trying to fly over. That's 5. Then I hit my 6th shot onto the green, lip out for 7, and I make an 8. And there were several moments in that scenario that I should have thought, okay, I'm already pin high in 5. I can get up and down for 7. At that point, I should have been thinking, as I've said a million times, because I stand for the lowest score I can make.
Mm-hmm.
And the lowest score I could make would to be play that provisional ball. I was pin high. It was like 15 feet from the flag. Easy up and down. I probably could have even putted it and made 7. So even though and not that was the day, because I ended up at that point, I looked later. At that point, he made the eagle, and I made an 8. He picked up 5 shots on me on that hole.
Whoa, that is a 5 shot swing. That's a
So there,
lot.
you know,
That's like
I,
birdie and
yeah, I
that's
was gonna
like
say,
birdie and a bogey.
yeah, you don't hear about that on the PGA Tour very much. Oh, there's Jim Nance. Oh, I think McIlroy just that was a five. Was that? Hey, Frank Nobilo, was that a 5 shot swing? Well, yes, it was. So I ended up. I won't go through the round, but I after that I played fine. I played
Yeah.
pretty
So I
nicely.
just want to just a little
Yes,
time out
please.
there about
Question.
that about the ball there. Now you play more tournaments than me, so you're going to know more rules stuff. But once the guy found your ball, um, did you have to play the ball, or
Yes. Yeah.
you had to play
I
it
should
because
have.
he
I
found it?
should have said. I
No
just
looking.
don't look for it.
Don't
That's
look for it.
yeah.
That's right.
There's a little pro tip for you.
Yeah.
If where you're going to find your ball is absolutely heinous, play your provisional.
Yeah,
So
but you tell your fellow competitors, don't look
don't
for it.
look
It's
for
gone.
it.
I
Yeah.
have officially abandoned that ball.
And
Yeah,
I should have.
yeah,
But that hazard I was in is playable. Like
yeah.
for the sake of a foot either way of that golf ball, I could have easily gotten. I've done it before. I could have gotten on the green and made a bogey, maybe make a par. But in that moment, that's why I said blow up holes in golf are a choice.
Yep.
I chose to do that. And in that moment, as I jokingly, like, yeah, I had a helmet fire. My head was on fire. Like
Helmet fire. I love that.
I had a helmet
That's
fire.
got to be a pilot
It's
phrase.
it's a fighter pilot phrase. I had a helmet
There you
fire.
go.
It's when things are going on, everything's happening so fast, and you don't know what button to push. And I ended up. It was a weird day. Of the top 25 senior golfers at my club, only 3 people broke 80 that day. I ended up shooting 81. Brophy shot 77. That was the lowest score.
And that's a pretty good score, but it ain't great.
Oh, it's terrible scores for us.
Well,
No offense
for
to
a guy
the
like
average.
70, for Doug to shoot 77, that's
So
not his best day.
there was 77, a 79, and an 80, and then me at 81. And there was
Yeah.
it wasn't that it was that hard a day, but it was windy. But everyone was freaking out. So I could
Yeah.
have won. I said, it was there for me to win if I had just had an average day. But that hole, it's hard. Not that I didn't recover from it because I parred the next hole. But it's weird, sometimes, and I think this is where I wanted to throw it over to you because I don't know that I know the answer to this. I immediately hit a great shot on the next tee. Like it was a 177-yard par 3, and I hit a beautiful soft draw to about 20 feet. I was the only one to hit the green. I
Nice.
went 8-3. Those guys, Brophy went on a bogey run for 3 or 4 holes. But for me, it didn't show up until the next hole. Like this is what I want to ask you. Like it's almost like I didn't really deal with the triple. I sort of pushed it down, and it started to leach into my game a couple holes later. So what is the answer to, should I have gotten mad or should I have gotten, I don't, because I know something. I didn't get rid of it for a couple holes.
Yeah. Okay. So getting mad or something, that's like an emotional reaction. We don't have control over that stuff. That's just stuff that stuff just happens. So I have players I coach and go like, I shouldn't have got angry. I shouldn't have been, frustrated or resigned, which is another word for sad. And I said, well, you don't have any control over that. That stuff just happens. And so, but it's always like, how do we respond to it? And the thing that I always come back to, it's not about thinking the right thoughts. It's not, oh, everything's going to be fine. I mean, that doesn't hurt. But the core thing is to go into your body and just feel what's going on. And so often what the best thing you can do is you just stand still, you just close your eyes for a few seconds, and you just do a body scan. You just kind of go through your body. And what most people will find is that they hold their tension in a couple of places. One would be in your jaw. You just kind of got your teeth grinding, or you got your shoulders, hunched up, kind of, it's almost like your shoulders up around your ears, or in your hands. That's 3 common places where people hold their tension. So anyways, or you could find it somewhere else, but you just connect with your body and go, oh, okay, because your body is the indicator of what's actually happening in terms of what you feel, which of course has an influence on what you think. So when you get connected to your body, you go, oh, yeah, I feel that tension thing again. Okay, whatever, something like that. And then you can just, and once you're aware of it, again, awareness is curative, then you can just start to relax because now you're aware of what's going on. You've noticed it. And that is the requirement for dealing with all kinds of emotional upsets, whether in golf, in the kitchen with your darling spouse, or at work, is connect with what's actually going on because most of it are just little triggers back to past disappointments. Just nonsense from earlier in our life and so when you notice what's going on you can kind of create a separation from it going okay that's just some kind of past bullshit thing
Yeah.
that's going on. I need to be here now, whereas you've said very often I need to be where my feet are.
Yeah, be where your body is. And again, I had a similar discussion that we're having with Charlie yesterday, and I said, once I got like that blow up hole happened. Like I said, I hit a really good shot, and the next swing I made was one of the best swings of the day. But a hole later, that would have been in the sixth. So on the sixth hole of the day, I just scraped. I don't know why. I didn't. I made a bogey, but I made a terrible, like a soft bogey. I call them, where I was like.
Yep.
148 yards from the green, and I make bogey from there. And I could, because that's when that's when the triple hit me. After that, for the next 12 holes, not only did I settle down, I played very well. Had a couple of three putts. The greens were really, really fast because it's the club championship. But I played very nicely. And I said to Charles, and I would say to you, on behalf of all of us, I said to him, well, I said, it's a shame I hadn't gotten into that settled down feeling a little sooner.
That's right.
Because I think I could have won. I felt like I could have won that tournament because Doug wasn't playing very well. On any given day, Doug Brophy is going to beat me. I played a lot of golf with him recently because we went to Windsor together. We played a practice round. Then we got drawn together in the tournament. I play with him very often, and he's an exceptional, talented golfer. But if we played 10 times, I'm going to beat him 4.5, maybe 5. Maybe not half the time, but I could have beat him that day. He didn't have his good stuff. And Charles said this. He said, you're going to have to just understand that feeling sometimes doesn't go away, or it'll come back later in the round. Because, all of a sudden you go, sometimes it happens when you think, oh, shit, I'm playing great. And then that unsettled feeling comes down. But I guess the theme is basically today that you can still hit a shot when you feel that way. But I was definitely out of the present tense. On several occasions early in that round, I definitely was feeling it. After the triple, I felt it almost like a delayed reaction. But I could, there's such a difference when you start to sort of get back into your body. And for the rest of the round, I was competitive. In fact, it's funny. I never look at the Golf Genius. I just I don't want to know where I stand.
Yeah, that's a good call.
But we had to wait around the 12th hole because there's all the groups in front of us, and we had to wait. And I just figured at that point, I didn't know what Doug was. We were all playing around similarly mediocre, but I know he made a few birdies and he'd made a few bogeys, but I just assumed it was out of reach for me. And so I open up the app and I see I'm tied for second. I'm only 4 back of him, and I was like, "Ooh, isn't that interesting?" And I had a chance. I just needed a couple of birdies and him to make a bogey, and I made no birdies. He just kept making bogeys. Yeah. And in fact, he bogeyed. I played the last 9 holes pretty well. But it just goes to show you that, even though I play a lot of tournament golf, I'm not immune to it. Again, and I laughed on the way home as shown. I said, it's funny because it was the Sunday prior that I had a session with Charles where I literally was thinking, I don't think I want to play any more tournaments. And then for the week I went first, second, and third in a tournament. Like, it's crazy. It's like, and again, not that I'm not analogous to a tour pro, but it's analogous to, you hear these guys go, miscut, 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 win.
Yes.
Like, all of a sudden, after 3 or 4 weeks of just struggling to make cuts, you hear about it. Like, Victor Hovland won the playoff against Shelton. When's the last time anyone heard Victor Hovland won a tournament? It's got to be a couple years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Years.
Oh, absolutely. He was in the wilderness, and he had won he'd won the FedEx. He won
Yeah,
that.
2023.
Yeah, all of that. So it happens to everybody. But part of the reason we go into these dive these we go into a funk, we're not playing well, there's something going on that we're not usually aware of, so we have to go down, even metaphorically, to get a sense of what is going on here.
Yeah.
And you just get, it gives you a sense, because it's from that place of being at a low point that you ask the questions. And that's why being curious is one of the best things you can ever do in any part of your life. But just a bit of brain stuff on we're talking anatomy of a blow up hole. And Coach Tim, on his Sunday Club C, was cruising along. I was like, I made a bunch of pars, so I'm 3 over after 8, and then triple 9 and quadruple 10. And so just similar to what you experienced, like things speed up. Suddenly I'm not feeling the club and I make some bad decisions. And so it's like, oh, what the hell's going on? And partially what goes on is just a bit of brain stuff here, is that when we're in that place of reactivity, basically we feel like we're under threat. Mm-hmm. So basically there's some fear. So instinctually, we go into our body, the fight, flight, freeze experience. And what happens in that moment is that basically you you lose access to your thinking mind, your frontal cortex. Right. That's offline because your body's going, okay, we got to do something to save you here. And so that's when things start to feel like they speed up and you get this sort of electrical feeling going on in your body. But here's the thing. It's when you notice that it's happening, then it starts to change. So as soon as you notice, oh, I'm in that place of reactivity, I'm activated, and so what do we need to do? Just breathe, pause, and now you're reconnected with your frontal cortex, and now you can think it through, and you go like, okay, I'm not going to hit, okay, I could try and fly it over this bunker to this pin, or, I'll just get this on the wide part of the fat green, get it on there.
Yeah. Maybe
1 putt, maybe 2 at worst, and we're out of dodge. So it's the noticing what's going on. And like you and I have talked about this, before. Like, remember when you and our good friend Kent made the back-to-back doubles?
In a scramble.
In the scramble. Yeah, in the scramble.
Yeah. By the way, that's not easy to do.
No, but I mean, so I remember you saying that he hit a shot, OB or something. Yeah. And then, so it was a very easy a short par 4. So what did you need to do? You could hit a fucking 5-iron.
I could have gone 5-iron wedge.
Yeah, but you were in that place of reactivity, if you will, and you choose the wrong club. That's how we make those. That's how those blow up holes happen. We're not present.
I want to talk about your quad in a second here, but the thing that we,
I don't. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, I think that we often talk about a pre-shot routine.
Yeah.
And I don't think we talk enough about a post-shot routine.
Because, absolutely, man.
I think we all just assume, okay, we go, good shot, bad shot, in trouble, not trouble, and that's blah, blah, blah. There's an instant processing that goes on. But especially when things go sideways. Mm-hmm. In that moment when I hit that shot on the 4th hole of the last round, what I needed to do was stop, as you say, was just to stop for a second, go back to the cart, think it through. What am I going to do? Forget the fact that Brophy's about to make a 10-footer for eagle. Because in the anatomy of my triple and your soon-to-be discussed quadruple bogey,
I'm getting nervous thinking about it.
It's always in the post-mortem when you go, oh, man.
Exactly.
When you're back online, you think... And I know it sounds trite, but 7's better than 8. 6 is better than 7. And at that point in any given moment, and this goes back to decade, that's why Fawcett always says, when you're in trouble, get out of trouble. My joking and my bit was pathways to par. Pathway to the lowest score. Because had I made 7 there, I would have only been 4 back of him, and that might have set up the day differently. Who knows? You never know in retrospect what might have happened. But in the moment, I needed to just stop. What I did is I quickly threw down another ball, and then I quickly made the decision to go look. Like, those were all choices that I made. That's why I say blow up holes are a choice that we make. Because I guarantee you, as we're going to find out, when you made a quadruple bogey, which I've done recently, I made a quintuple bogey in a tournament recently. Yeah. There's a moment in every one of those where a double is better than a quadruple bogey. It just is.
Well, totally. And so this has been an area that I've just been fascinated by, particularly in the last couple of weeks, doing a lot of work and totally seriously in trying to research trauma and its effect on us. So, there's big T trauma. You're a soldier, and a landmine goes off and carnage. You get in a very bad car accident, you get mugged or something. I call that big capital T trauma. And little T trauma is, just the stuff that happens between, parents and kids and teachers. Thank you. So this is all really kind of top of mind for me. And the core thing in all of this is having a sense of presence to what's happening now. And it could be a feeling in your body. It could be just like a flood of thoughts. And when you notice it's happening, then you can respond to it. But most of us are not. We're just kind of hooked by whatever happened, because it's been happening to, for you and I, close to 7 fucking decades, of the same stuff going on and on. But when we notice, when we're present to it, then we can respond. And that's the greatest challenge in trying to change any behavior or play your best golf. Go ahead.
And if I just interject quickly, it's like we all have an emotional response to hitting a poor golf shot. Well,
That's
and
right.
I understand your metaphor about big T versus little T, but it's still in your body. There's an electrical feeling. There's something that just happened. And why we say that it seems to speed up is because we don't stop and just let the emotion settle in, because emotions are uncomfortable. So
we don't like that shit.
We want to get it. We want to get past as quickly as we can. But if you just give your body a chance to settle in with that feeling, go, okay, that just happened. Now I'm going to slow this down, because I need to have access to that thinking part of the brain for a second or two. So tell us about your quadruple bogey, Coach Tim.
Okay. So, anyways, so on the 9th hole, I hit a pitch shot. Anyways,
are we gonna? So it's triple quad. Okay, let's go through the whole. Yeah. Let's go through the whole shebang. Let's take you back to that traumatic moment.
Okay, we're gonna need a cart for this journey. But anyways, so I know I'll try and be as quick as I can. Hit a solid drive, but I blow it into the wood, so I got a chip out. So I make a very good chip out. I'm left with 74 yards, and instead of trying to fly it to the pin with, say, like about a 2/3 54-degree wedge, I decide I'm going to sort of just try and run it in there, and I leave it like fucking 15 yards short, but there's a big freaking swale, so I putt it. Do the Texas wedge thing, but I just don't know the greens that well at Deer Ridge yet. And it just takes this slope and end up 3-putting and make a triple.
So the triple. And I love the fact that the quad is as a result of the triple that had just happened.
Oh, totally, man. Yeah, totally. So I get there, and so the 10th at Deer Ridge, it's just got water all the way down the left side. The hole just hugs it, bends slightly left.
And you hit a draw. You're a drawer.
Drawer of the ball, yeah. And anyways, I'm standing there and just saying, be present to this club head, what I'm trying to do, and I just yank this ball. I hit it so far left, I think it almost misses the pond left of it. I mean, just an atrocious swing. And I just sort of stand there going, what the F just happened? It was just like I wasn't present at all. This is god-awful swing. And so, of course, now...
So that was second. So in that drive, you pulled it super left.
Yes. wet, gone.
So that's and if I can just again jump in, when we do those things, right away we if you can take yourself out of the emotion of it, or just like again back to letting it settle in. You didn't hit it left because you're a bad golfer.
No.
If you analyze it, if again, that's the theme today is getting that part of your brain to stay on, because analytically you hit it left because the club face was slightly closed, not because you're a bad at golf. Yeah,
Yeah. I
we
didn't suddenly forget how to
right.
play.
But our reaction emotionally is, I hit it left. I must be bad.
Well, it was like, really, Tim, like
Really, Tim?
really, and then one of the guys I'm playing with goes like, how did that happen, Tim? And I'm thinking like, why would you ask me that? Fuck off. And he's
Oh,
a
I know.
super nice guy. He
Oh,
doesn't
I
mean
know.
anything by
No.
it, you know. And suddenly I'm a 3-year-old again,
Yeah.
sort of and so I don't think because I was hitting last, so I didn't, so I had to just go to the cart, get another ball, and and so I just hit, and so I hit this weak heel thing out, on top of a bunker, and I'm left with this bad lie. And I should have taken more club. So I had like 113 in. And so, anyways, I should have really just hit a maybe about a knockdown 9 or something, just to make sure. So
Yeah.
I hit it in the bunker, and then and I think onto the green, and then 3 putt, which included missing about it must have been 2 feet putt, just because I was just I don't know, I just wasn't really there.
Well, because you're just a regular. Listen, you're a smart guy. You're a lovely man. You're a beautiful human being. But
Oh, thank you.
You're just a regular dude. I mean, if I could take a picture of all the trophies I saw yesterday in Charles Fitzsimmons' house, and yet I've played tournament golf with that guy and listened to him whine and pout and bitch just like everybody else.
Thank you.
Just like everybody else. This guy's got a PH fucking D, and yet a couple times yesterday he had a bit of a sulk on. I go, it's okay, little bear. I mean, like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
we're all the same. The thing is, and you'll love this, when we put emotional labels on things,
Yes.
we make them personal. It's like, this is happening to me because I'm bad, versus like, listen, back to my 105-yard gap wedge. There's a lot of things I could have, should have done, but the biggest takeaway for me was, and again, when I said to Shona in the cart a couple times, man, I'm learning a lot, because in a couple of weeks I'm going to be playing in the Ontario Senior Am, and I'm going to have to remember once again that if this shit happens, I need to step away. And in that moment, you hit it left on the 10th hole, and you went back to the cart with your big pouty face, having to mark another ball, and here I go, and blah, blah, blah. And we feel, excuse me, I just burped. We feel emotional. We feel our face get warm. We feel shame. All the O'Connor top 10 things we feel.
Yep.
But those are all reactions emotionally because we're not labeling them. There's something that Charles, where I wrote it down. It's something about naming and labeling. Naming and labeling. So naming it is, hey, I hit it left because the club face was slightly closed to the path, not because I'm shit at golf and I always do this, etc., etc. How could I do this? Here we go again. All the things golfers say, because you didn't need to, and I guarantee you that the quadruple bogey happened because of the triple bogey. And why sometimes golfers do this, I do it, where you go blow up hole, then another kind of a lesser blow up hole in your case, and then finally after a few holes, your body recalibrates and you've settled down, and now you're fine again.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that was exactly what happened to me. It was like the rest of the round was just pars, a couple bogeys, and it was just, but when you, seven. So when you start off, when you're 3 over after 2, and then you're 7 over in 2 holes, that's kind of hard to recover from. But anyways, I had fun. But what I want to just mention two things. One is that one of the core roles that a caddy does for LPGA and PGA Tour players is they act as sort of that just that person who asks, "Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? What are you feeling?" And then so because as humans, as we've just discussed, we get caught up in our stuff and we just lose perspective and we're not present. And so you need that help. And so that's one of the hardest things. I was reading actually in a book today for the first time. So if one of the things of being at our best, whatever that means being present. But that's one of the hardest things that we can do as humans. You can't be present all the time. And it's not a habit that you can cultivate. It's just a response that every once in a while we go, oh shit, I'm in this again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is happening. Oh, I'm catastrophizing or whatever. And we just catch ourselves. So, but that's just so much of the work is to ask ourselves, what's happening and what am I feeling in this moment? And it's so hard to do. And meditation helps with that. So anyway, I just want one other thing I wanted to. So the day after, Coach Tim here, I journaled on this,
Right.
on what happened to me.
2 pages, lots of words, 2 pages worth of.
Oh, I'm a writer. I've written books and shit. I was just so with some distance. One of the things I became aware of is that I wasn't, I hadn't so narrowed down, like a feeling I wanted. It was kind of like heading into the turn. I was saying, if I feel my arms just drop into the swing, I hit them great. Or if I stay connected to the club head, feel that club head, that feels good. And other times I feel connected to my hand. So it's all, Coach Tim is doing his feeling stuff or trying to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I hadn't centered on something that I would just pay attention to all the time. And so since then, I've been hitting tons of balls this week. When I feel my hands, I just like, if that is my focus, then I'm going to learn a lot more about that.
Yeah, I'm not being the devil's advocate, but it's the old thing that, of course you're hitting balls on the range and all that stuff, and all those feelings are great. But when you step into the ring and people start attempting to punch you in the face, all those feelings and external, internal, external, all those cues that we have in our golf game, are great until you get punched in the face and you make a quad. And your point's well taken. What I was going to say is that it's about what you said is those are a lot of behaviors in life and in golf are habitual, but that's why you need to practice how you're going to react. When I said to Showens, I said, I'm learning so much. I was relearning it because I play a lot of
absolutely,
golf,
man,
but I had not been in contention. And you know what it's like. You walk into after the first round. I was in the last group, strangely enough, from the first day, the last group of the championship flight. So when I came in, there's a bunch of people, hey, good playing, and it just feels different, Like I've been near the lead for the last couple of years. I finished fourth last year, third the year before, but when you're leading it, and I'm going out with Brophy, and I'm all that stuff, it just feels different. And
absolutely.
And I was out of practice. And like I said, coming up in a few weeks, I'm going to be playing in the Senior Am, and then I'm going to New Brunswick to play in their Senior Am. Just as I'm going to start to wrap this up a little bit, but I just want to mention our friend Carl Morris. Are we done with the quads and triples and stuff?
Yeah, I feel like I've healed.
Carl's got a new book, and we're going to get Carl on. He's been kind enough to give us an advance copy. It's fantastic. But I will say this. Carl has been talking about his app, the Mind Caddy app, for a long time on his show. We've mentioned it a few times on our show. and you and I have it as well. I've had it on my phone for a while, and I sent Carl a note because Carl and I had a conversation on the weekend because he's got an AI version of himself. He's poured 30 years worth of Carl Morris learning into this app. And I thought, what could that literally be like? And I started asking it questions about playing.
Oh, far out.
Honestly, Tim, I wish I could show you some of the stuff that the responses were. Because I said, here's my situation. Leading the tournament, final group, last round, feeling nervous. What do you think? And then we had this sort of back and forth in it. I know it's ubiquitous, speaking of that word. AI is everywhere now. Mm-hmm. But I could not have, and I sent him a note. I said, it was crazy how empathetic and accurate and interesting. And his response, the AI version. So if you're curious, go check out the Mind Caddy app. And when we get Carl on, I promised him I would mention it on the show today because it was very, very interesting to me to have a back and forth text messaging with this app. And it was just filled with great insights that the man's, basically had for 3 decades of teaching and working with high-level players.
Yeah, I'm smiling because I remember when Carl was last on our show talking about the AI version of himself. He says that his wife likes it a lot better than the real funny. Carl.
Yeah. Well, I wish everyone, wonderful. Hope you had a great Canada Day. Mm-hmm. And you and I have we lined up that dude? Speaking of Carl, have we lined up Carl and Don Christensen yet?
No, I have not. Coach Tim / producer is not.
It's fine. Listen, man.
Done that. Okay,
but I'm still
a good person. I know that.
You're a wonderful person. Dr. Morris and Don Christensen are coming up in the next little while. And what have I got? I've got a bunch of tournaments still to come here. I got some tournament golf, and it's funny. Yesterday, the first day I haven't had to have everybody see my score, and I played a very difficult golf course. I played it very well yesterday. In fact,
Beacon Hall.
Yeah, I made an eagle. Yeah. I made an eagle on a par 5. In fact,
which one?
It was on the back 9. It would have been, the one you have to hit it over there's 2 fairways.
Oh yeah. Oh, great hole. Yeah,
great hole. I think it's 15-ish, and
yep.
You're right. It's about now. I cut the dog leg because we were downwind, and Charles was playing at 7,000 yards, and I was playing it at 65-50. I was playing some pretty good tee boxes.
Yeah.
And I killed it. I had a great drive with the wind, so it's a 512-yard par 5, and GSL had 205 in.
Okay.
And it was downwind. Now, listen, I got a lot of roll, and because I cut that corner over those bunkers, and we had a good play. I talked it over to Charles. He said, "Hey, the green does this, and this is where you probably want to start it left." And I just flushed it, but I tugged it slightly, just sort of not a hook, but probably a couple yard pull hook.
Yeah.
And it hit the left side of the green, and it bounced 90 degrees right within a foot of the hole. I've had a couple eagles this year, but I haven't had a tap-in eagle. It was pretty fun. So that was a highlight for me.
That's
on
fun.
That golf course. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I walked up there, and because Charles had hit his shot, he had to lay up. So his third shot about 15 feet from the flag, and as we drove up there, I said, "Is that short one mine? Or is that long one mine?" He goes, "Shut up." I'm like, because literally, it was a gimme eagle, but.
Yeah, there you go.
It was fun. It's certainly. I'll tell you one thing. I know Bobby Jones said it a long time ago, but it's one of the most true things in golf that there's golf and then there's tournament golf, and they feel completely different. There wasn't one moment. There wasn't 1 second on the golf course yesterday that I was viscerally disappointed, frustrated, angry. It was just I hit a couple of shitty shots. But it just didn't feel the same as when score matters.
You got it, man.
Tim O'Connor at o'connorgolf.ca, one of the wonderful human beings that has been planted here. This program is produced by the Humble and Fred Show. We've been off this week. We're back on next week. And our producer, isn't here, but you can find us on all the social platforms. He does a great job, and Nicholas Prius is our producer. And we'll see you next time. This show is brought to you by tailor-made QI 4D drivers. By the way, Fitzsimmons is using one now. He changed drivers for the first time since I've known him. He just rips it. QI 4D drivers, they're fastest, most fittable drivers yet. It's time to find your new fast.